So greetings, everybody, and welcome once again to an all-new free learning session, this time on artificial intelligence and machine learning led by Peter Belfry. Hi, I'm your host, Amandeep. I'm leading academics here at TutorEye. We are 24/7 e-learning platform helping students achieve their academic goals through expert online tutoring and written help services. Joining us today all the way from Canada is Peter Belfry, our in-house computer science expert. Although I would still request Peter to introduce himself, but I'm sure this session is going to be pretty interactive with a lot of takeaways for all of us. So before we jump into the session, Peter, would you like to share something about yourself and what are you working on nowadays?
Yeah, well, I really enjoy computers, and it's something I know I really enjoyed in high school, programming, just how it gave an opportunity to be creative and to create something that could be really powerful and achieve a lot of things. And I went on to teach at the high school level, and now I'm also doing the college level as well. So
Wonderful.
I really enjoy that. I did a textbook in computers, and thankful to take that experience to help others.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. One more question for you. You have taught to a spectrum of learners right from school to college. So what are your views on education in general, especially around computer sciences?
Like what's important, what's specific?
So I'm talking about in terms of 21st century skills, how important is to learn
Oh
coding
yeah.
nowadays?
Well, it's in the thing is that it's in every field now. So whatever someone ends up doing for a career, it will involve computers. We all use computers, and so to know computer science gives you an edge whatever field you're into. If you go directly into computer science, you can combine that with any other interests you have as well.
Awesome, awesome. So that's great. Peter, you can let's jump right into the session. You can share your screen and
Great.
we can start. Over to you.
All right. So I believe I'm sharing the screen, and is that able to be
Yes.
confirmed? Good.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Excellent. So we're just gonna get started here. AI and machine learning. I know that everybody has a different level experience with computers and what this is. I know that everybody's used this. I know that everybody has interacted with artificial intelligence and machine learning in some way, but maybe you didn't realize that. And so we'll look at that today. We'll look at what you've perhaps used that has involved this, how it's helpful, and look at some examples as well as along the way. So first off, let's just think about what makes a human unique. You know, computers are designed by humans, right? And so computers are designed to think in ways that are similar to how humans think. And so to start thinking about computers and the potential they have, let's start with thinking, what makes a human unique? I wonder if anyone would offer an answer to that question. What makes humans unique?
I think our I believe our ability to think independently is what makes us unique. I am taking a guess here.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. It's that thinking process, that higher thinking process, that critical thinking, that being self-aware that you are an individual and a person.
Right.
Our problem-solving capabilities, our creativity, our ability to analyze and improve and make decisions, have complex reasoning. And when you think of a computer, you might not realize that it actually has that potential. It actually has that potential to have some of these things that makes humans unique. And as those that design artificial intelligence and machine learning, the job is to make it as close as possible to that human potential, and if possible, even better in some areas. You think of how humans are capable of doing things that animals can't do. You think of how humans can do something in a more advanced way, and computers have helped us for years in many fields, but I hope as you see this seminar unfold, you see artificial intelligence and machine learning kind of unlock that next level of potential to use computers to help us.
Right.
And potentially even do some things better than us, of course, because we have limitations. We have limited, for instance, memory. We have limited time, and so computers have some things we don't have, actually.
Okay.
So just to kind of start off with thinking about what this actually is, I want to just think of video games. It's a common something common that that people use that will show us some examples of artificial intelligence and machine learning. And so, anyone have a favorite video game at all that they would like to say?
So I don't see anything in
That's all
chat,
right.
but I think
Yeah.
so. If I talk about myself, I really liked Pong earlier. Then I used to play a lot of shooting games. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm old schooler, so I used to play a lot of Pong.
Nice. Yeah. And so there's AI going on, right? Because you are one person interacting and controlling, but there's actually another player, and that player is essentially an artificial intelligence. It's not a real person, and they are simulating a real person controlling that other character. And so this is a great example of artificial intelligence. Now, you may or may not have had a game that's a bit more advanced even than that, with some machine learning going on, where maybe a character has that ability to learn some things and react to you in a certain way and adjust. The machine learning and AI can work together or on their own. And so it is present in video games as well, where it gives the ability to learn and to adjust, to react in a way that can be developed and learned, and where they actually can improve and adjust based on your actions. So those are some examples there. Maybe it's a game that's going to become more difficult, and it kind of observes your areas of weakness, and over time it starts to get more difficult because your areas of weakness, it actually gets more difficult. That's that machine learning happening.
Okay.
I'm sorry for not changing the slides exactly there. And so another example I want to look at, we want to look at an example here that we're all familiar with, Siri and Alexa. Whether either one here, you have this great way to just get information so easily. You just say, where can I go get pizza, right? Order me a pizza, and it's going to pop up and give you an answer. It's going to go through all this data, and it's going to pull it up for you. And so this is another great example of some artificial intelligence going on, where it's acting like a person in a real way. It's got a voice. It's essentially an interface. Siri and Alexa, it's like an interface, kind of like how we are familiar with using our keyboards and our mouse and maybe our touch screen to interact with our computer and to access information. Well, artificial intelligence actually can be an interface to do that, to interact with data. You can simply talk, and that artificial intelligence that acts as a person is that in between that's able to actually help you with things and access that information in a simple way that we can understand, because we interact with people all the time. Another great example that you're familiar with, I'm sure. And then there's machine learning as well, where maybe that's learning your voice over time. It's able to more easily recognize your voice and how you say things so it can get it right. That's that machine learning, where it's able to improve and develop that knowledge as a computer, just like we can learn as well. And I want to just think of a couple of applications here as well. some other examples where this is a big thing in many industries. You see big companies using machine learning in a big way. They're getting our data. You may not even be aware of that. That as you go on certain websites, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, apps, they are accessing your information and they're analyzing that and they're providing that to people to help tailor ads to you, and they're using that on their platform for ads. And so they're able to learn about you and to put you in different categories of interests and what you like, and they're able to try to tailor ads to you, so they're more likely to have companies be interested in using them for ads, because they're able to more predictably give ads to people who will be interested in those products. Google is another great example of that as well. And even our credit cards, our purchases that we're making, depending on your credit card, you may see an agreement as you get that card that says some of that information can be shared with companies for advertising purposes, so that they can collect that information and use that machine learning tool to help advertisers to better understand you as an individual. And so I want you to see that deep down, like for Google, for example, there are computers going in the background. Of course, if you studied computers at all, you know that the internet is not just some thing out there. These are real computers located somewhere. Google has servers. Google has computers that are hosting all of this data that we access. And so this machine learning is going on behind the scenes, and it's analyzing our data, and it's making it more easy for us. As we search on the internet, it's popping up suggestions based on our past searches, and it's trying to make things easier for us to use. This is all going on in the background as we use perhaps an Android device. We're providing information to Google that way, and it's all connected. A great example of that in practice. And then it goes to the advertising. You saw those Google ads. That's part of all that process. Just a brief little example of this in practice, seeing this work, seeing how it was able to analyze what I was doing. Personally, I am not a vegetarian, but I was discussing the topic while I was watching listening to some music on YouTube, and I just was discussing vegetarianism and why one might consider being one. And the next thing I know, the next ad that pops up is a lecture of someone giving a talk on vegetarianism and why it is a good choice. And so I just think, wow, something's going on here. It's not just by chance, right? This is a very good example again of this machine learning going on and analyzing me and listening to me and thinking and what is this person interested in? What might be a good ad to give to them that they would like? And so there is, of course, this privacy issue here, but there's a lot of potential here if used rightly and wisely. A big issue that came up, you may be aware of, was in the United States election of 2016. And people were very critical of how people's data was used through Facebook, through a group called Cambridge Analytica, and actually violated Facebook's terms of use for personal data and used this to try to kind of put people in psychological profiles and then get people a message that would tailor more likely to what they were like and what kind of were their fears and their hopes and their different concerns, and tailor an ad that would be something that would convince them. And so this is viewed very critically, so we can see a kind of a negative, perhaps negative example of how this could be used, but we also see the potential and the power as well.
Right.
Robots is another example. Robots are a real thing. Yes, we don't see them walking down the street right now necessarily speaking to us, but there are robots out there that you can actually talk to and interact with now at this time. And so they reveal a lot of potential about what could happen in the future. Robots that have both that artificial intelligence, where they are an individual that has the ability to interact with a human, and also that machine learning where they can learn actually, and they become very close to human in many capabilities. Benefits that they could save a lot of money and time. They could help it accomplish things that wouldn't be possible otherwise. Having robots, on the other hand, of course, that means that we may have to shift as a society a bit because certain jobs will change and we'll have to adjust accordingly. So let's just look at some of how this actually works, some of the logic behind it. Computers are capable of making decisions again because we think in a certain way, and so we teach the computers to think in a similar way like us. And so there's a decision to make. You see this example here. Is the color red? The computer has that programmed ability to see if the color is red, and then if it is, it logically does something accordingly. It turns right. If the color is not red, it turns left. And so part of this is decisions that the computer is able to make by certain data. And it would be, of course, way more complex than this, but all deep down, there's decisions being made like this. Robots deciding which way to turn, and perhaps it's based on the color they're seeing in front of them. Just an example. And there's algorithms going on that are taking place. If you like math, this is a great opportunity in computer science to use some of those skills. We use patterns in math. We use patterns to sort things and make decisions, fit things into certain categories. Algorithms are able to do that. Not just simple things like red or different colors, but more complex decisions can be designed. Things like an email filter. It's able to use machine learning to differentiate between spam and what's not spam, and it's able to learn over time and improve through different patterns and algorithms what might be spam and what might not be. Now here's something perhaps some people may be interested in as an entrepreneur or with a company, would be that you can develop apps using machine learning. This could be a very powerful and helpful tool for your business, making something easy for people because of this ability to have machine learning. It could be a simple app. To give you an example, where you take a picture and the machine learning is able to determine if it's in one category or another. Perhaps it's based by color again. Perhaps it's based on things like hairstyle. Perhaps it's things like you could even use the power of these apps to you could combine photos together. Instead of using Photoshop, you could have machine learning and artificial intelligence work together to create an app where it basically Photoshops for you and takes some of that editing for you in a way that you choose, and predicts what would look to you suitable for your options you select. Like maybe you want to see what you look like with a different hairstyle. You can use it for that. Very powerful tool. Just basic examples there, but you can have maybe something that will help your user to predict for your user a product that would match their needs and interest, so that they more quickly will buy a product from you.
Okay.
And then, of course, we have the analysis and response. So the computer is able to not only have that data and put it into categories, but actually choose to respond, to take an action. So it checks for certain results, monitors for changes in the results, reacts accordingly. You could have a computer designed to maybe look for certain patterns, notice that a temperature is rising, and set off an alarm or adjust something accordingly as a result. So not only is it self-improvement and development and learning, but actually that ability to respond and act based on that.
Very interesting indeed.
Good. Now, just some of the different hardware behind this. Computers, of course, are made up of many pieces of hardware. Just a few examples here of the big examples of what they are made of. Of course, you have what you don't physically necessarily see, but you might see on your screen, the software, the applications. Behind that is the code, the programming that has been done by someone to make that work. And the software and those programs make use of that hardware to be able to run and to do those processes. The GPU, it gives that processing power for computing. It gives those capabilities of multi-dimensional data processing, like processing images, videos. It can do functions, alterations, perform calculations. You could think of it similar to a frontal cortex of the brain. Hard drives, networks, and servers for those that are connected together across the world or within a building. Hard drives and networks and servers, this is able to store the information that is used to analyze. And it stores that memory. It's kind of like that long-term memory. You could say kind of like our long-term memory. And there's massive capabilities of storage now, terabytes able to be stored. CPUs, central processing units, able to help to process information, multiple things at once, and manage that. RAM is kind of like your short-term memory that you need now, but not necessarily later. Power supply is like the energy. It's like the food for our bodies, giving that energy. So just to give you an idea, and again, you see those similarities to humans a little bit, where we have designed the computers to do some of the things we can do and help us in that process. All right, we want to look at a couple of examples now. I'm gonna look at 2 coding examples with you, followed by some examples you can try yourself. You can, of course, try this link to look at it yourself. I will pull it up and share that with my screen. One moment.
Okay. Or maybe you can put it in the chat box. We can copy it.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. And so here is an example, just a simple example to show you kind of some of the capabilities. This is in a language called C++. And so this program, what it does is it's just a simple program showing you a little bit of AI example, just like we talked with Siri, where you can talk and it'll speak back to you. This program is designed so that you can talk to it and it'll speak back, and it has a certain response. So
when you say analyze feedback, is it auditory feedback or written feedback?
Well, for this example, it's written, but it shows you that capability where essentially if you input something, there's going to be a certain response. Now, this is a simple example. You could make it more complex. You could simply say something like, hello. Sorry, I forgot to run the program. Here we go. So I say, hello, and it responds back, hello, what's your name? And so it's able to respond to you and have an appropriate response. I say, how are you? Right? I am good. Glad to hear that. Let's try running it again. Great, thank you. How are you? So it's able to respond, and it's able to respond appropriately to your input. And so you're capable of programming so that there's a certain input and an output as a result. Now, this is a very simple example, but you can imagine that you can make it more complex. You could make it based not on just, here it's very specific. If I say hello, the output is hello, what's your name? I could make it more complex so that if the user inputs a variety of different inputs, a certain output is provided. I can make it so that if a certain word or words are used in a sentence by a user, a certain output is provided. And so you see a basic example, and you can consider some of the more complex potential that you can have for artificial intelligence in this example, where it's able to essentially act as a human, even though in reality, it's just been trained to do that. Now we'll look at a machine learning example.
Okay.
And I'll share this one as well in the chat. Okay, so this one here, what it is this is able to use machine learning. Again, machine learning is able to learn and improve and respond. And so what this does is it actually is able to take certain simple phrases and decide if they are a positive or a negative phrase. And so you see some examples here from positive phrases. We love you, they love us. You are good, he is good, they love Mary. Positive examples. Then you see some negative. We hate you, they hate us, you are bad, he is bad, we hate Mary. Some negative examples. Okay, so what you have here is it's able to learn based on these examples and decide if a new sentence or new phrase is positive or negative. Because certain words were used within the positive texts and within the negative texts, it's able to do a pretty good job. Of course, machine learning is not 100% perfect. That's why it improves. That's why if you develop it properly and it does do it wrong and you teach it, it will do better the next time. But it's able to take these examples and to determine if some other examples are positive or negative. It does this by taking certain words within those phrases and rating them on a scale of positive and negative. And so you see some numbers here, and these different words are rated differently depending on that. And so it takes these and it says, okay, which words are used in the positive and not in the negative? Which words are used in both? And it learns that, and it says, okay, well, if the word is only used in positive, it's very likely that if this word is used again, it will be positive, right? So it's able to make these decisions. And so there's some examples here below that are not listed above. They are good. There's no, they are good, but there was you are good. Here's the output. When it says positive there, it's talking about the first statement. They love Mary. It's saying it's positive. They are good. Positive. It's saying. Why do you hate Mary? Negative. they are almost always good, positive. We are very bad, negative. And so these phrases were not used exactly in the positive and negative that was used to teach this program, but it was able to use that to make a decision. And indeed, it did work very well in these examples to decide if it was positive or negative. So you can see that potential in these examples, in this simple example. Now, just to end here, I want to show you a couple more examples that you can try on your own as well. These are kind of more complex that people have developed. I'll post this in the chat. This one, it's essentially an artificial intelligence. It's actually designed to act as if it's a psychotherapist. Okay. So what you can do is you can talk to it, and it says, please tell me what's been bothering you. Well, I lost my dog, let's say. And so it has a response. Does that suggest anything else responds to you? And so it's maybe not fitting it exactly, but it's able to respond, and it's able to ask questions. Let's see. Let's see another example. I'll just keep talking to it. You can see that there's a response.
Yes. And
so it's able to go back and forth and act as a artificial intelligence that asks general questions and makes general statements that may be used in a psychotherapy session to help you. Essentially, it's designed to help you kind of process things and think about it. So you can see some of that potential where maybe if someone doesn't have access to something, an artificial intelligence could provide that access in a cheaper way. Okay. One example, you can visit that if you're interested in trying it more. And here's another example. This is actually created by Google. This is machine learning, and it's very interesting. It's designed to learn and to be able to determine what someone is drawing. And so it actually takes what people draw, and it learns and it improves over time. And so it's based on what other people have done before you as you tried this. And then it's going to try to guess what you're drawing based on how it did other times. So you can just try that. Draw a sock. Okay. I'll try that. So it did it. It was trying different things, and it was able to think. It was able to say, oh, I see a shoe. I see this. No, it's not that. Is it this? Is it this? Right? And it's looking at the patterns. It's looking at the algorithms. And it's saying, well, that other time someone did that line there and it ended up being a sock. Maybe it's a sock. I'll try that. Yeah, it was correct. A sea turtle. Okay, I'll try this. I don't want to embarrass myself. Oh dear. Oh. That was pretty bad. You can see it did its best, but unfortunately my drawing wasn't cut out there. But give it a try. It's very interesting, very fun to see that at work. And
so is it just that. So Peter, is it just about drawing, or is it trying to also sort of understand anything behind what you're trying to draw?
Yeah, well, it's taking your lines that you draw, the shapes, it's taking everything and it's analyzing that. And it's looking at each person and how it did. And every time people do this, it's learning and it's improving each time. Yeah.
Wonderful.
It's a very interesting example.
So do you want to continue and show us how you would draw a kangaroo? Because that's going to be interesting.
I can certainly try. Now I'm not necessarily an artist. Let's see. Oh dear. Oh wow. It actually knew that. I don't know if you saw that at the end. It actually said, I know it's a kangaroo. Now that was not a good drawing. So clearly it's been programmed very well.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, definitely give that a try. It's very interesting and some fun as well. So just to finish, I just want you to think about the potential here. Just summarize and yeah, talk about some of the potential. So yeah, again, artificial intelligence, it's able to think for itself. It's able to analyze, process information, essentially imitate what a human does, act like a human, and be kind of like a human interface to communicate with a computer and information and process that information in a way that's easy for us to do. You know, we don't speak in zeros and ones, which a computer does. We don't all know how to program, and so it's able to do this in a way people can easily understand with artificial intelligence. Machine learning, it's able to improve itself, do deep analysis of data and users input, and take action as a result and improve the actions that will take place, and to provide power behind artificial intelligence. They work well together. And so, yeah, what will you do? I wonder if this seminar would spark some interest in you to consider how artificial intelligence and machine learning could help in your career, or that you'd create a tool that would use this code potential to change the world. It has a potential to create an app that would solve a real world problem, or develop robots that would solve a problem. We see things developing in technology like self-driving cars coming out soon. And so this is important to get familiar with. Just like getting familiar with programming can be helpful in every field, I think that if you would learn machine learning and artificial intelligence, it would give you even more of an edge, as this is something that will bring computer science to the next level in the future. So I hope that this sparks some interest for you, and that you can use this information to continue to develop your personal professional development and makes a difference in the world. And if you're interested, here's some resources that I've used to help me in my research, and that may be of further interest to you.
Sure. Awesome.
Great. So that concludes our seminar for today. I hope that everyone enjoyed it. And
wonderful.
Yeah.
So, the one takeaway for me is when you really think about it, when you think about artificial intelligence, and when you think about smart cars, and when you think about people, or maybe those scientists, or maybe those computer engineers coding or programming it, they were not trying to create something intelligent. They were just trying to solve a problem.
Right.
So for example, when there's an obstacle, stop the car, as simple as that.
Right.
So that was very logical. So when they were trying to solve a problem to a person who's looking from outside, they could think, okay, this is an intelligent decision. And maybe from that, at the core of it, it's very logical. It is a simple algorithm, but to I think to a common man, it appears to be an intelligent decision. And
That's right.
hence, I think the name artificial intelligence. Otherwise, it's very logical. It's very it's not very complex, but it's a lot of decisions, a lot of logical decisions happening very quickly that appears to have an intelligent being taking those decisions, probably.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Awesome. So this was it's always a pleasure, Peter, to see experienced teachers in action when they explain things. So we would also want to sort of explore big data and maybe dive deeper into artificial intelligence and machine learning, coding for that matter, in our next webinar. But we are very, very curious to know, according to you, what is the right age for kids or learners to start learning to code?
Oh, I would say as early as grade 6
Okay.
level.
Mhm.
There's a lot of helpful tools out there for something that's more suitable for children. They won't even necessarily realize right away that they're doing coding, but they're learning that logic. They're having fun in the
Right.
process, and then later on, it's easier for them to take that and to use it in an even more explicit coding way. Yeah.
Right. So thank you, Peter. It was fun learning so much from you, especially around machine learning and artificial intelligence, especially the codes that you shared, the practicality of it all. Because if you just try to lecture around it, it's not really going to work. So thank you for sharing actual practical, usable examples with our users.
Yeah, for
I'm
sure.
sure. I'm sure. Yeah. So that's how we would also like to progress and further learning by experiencing, learning by using coding and actual coding a system. Wonderful. So Peter, would you like to share any closing remarks with our users?
Yeah, I just really encourage everyone to make a difference in the world for the better. And this is a very powerful technology that can change the world for the better or for the worse, and that's up to us to decide how we will use that. And so I encourage you to invest in this area and
Mhm.
consider how it may help you to fulfill and to meet needs that you have in your career.
Awesome. Awesome. So it was wonderful hosting you, Peter. Viewers who are watching us on YouTube or through a recording, today was a free session on artificial intelligence and machine learning powered by TutorEye. We have planned more such sessions. The next one is scheduled for 27th and 28th of October. We have also scheduled a session on exam-induced stress and mental health. And we are going to have actual doctors and teachers answer some really critical questions around stress and mental health. All right. Thank you everyone for joining us. Feel free to share suggestions and topics you would like us to do a session on. Also drop your email in the chat box for us to send you a recording of the session. And goes without saying, if you need any tutoring support in any subject, hop onto www.tutoreye.com. We will assign an expert tutor in the next in the first 3 minutes of you being there. That's a promise. All right, Peter. Stay safe. Thank you so much. Stay healthy. Happy learning. Bye-bye.
All right, thank you. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.